Hello everyone, my name is JCorbin, and for my topic I focused on politics and punishment. So ever since I was really young, I've always had an interest in history. Whether it was going to the Capitol with Cub Scouts or reciting the Gettysburg Address in third grade, I've just really loved history and how human interactions have changed over time. My specific interest in politics and government, though, that's more of a recent thing. I first joined the speech and debate team in ninth grade, and my coach actually came to me and asked me to do this category called extemporaneous speaking. And so for extemporaneous speaking, you're given a current events topic about 30 minutes ahead of time. You have 30 minutes to prepare, and then you're supposed to give a 7-minute speech on that topic. So the first time I tried it, I got my topic, I did my research, and I was horrible at it. I gave a 2-minute speech. It was very embarrassing. And I really realized I had no idea what was going on in the world around me. So that kind of inspired me, I think, to really start looking more about current events, looking into how our government works. And as I did that, I really found an interest in that. So at the start of my senior year, I knew I wanted to do something with government. I didn't want to focus on politics alone, though. I wanted to have something that was also more connected to our everyday lives. So the overarching theme of my whole project was the connection between politics and the partisan process, and also the legal aspect of it, how that affects our criminal justice system. So to do that, I interned with Delegate Rob Bell. He is the delegate in the General Assembly for the 58th District, which covers most of Fluvanna and parts of Albemarle. And he's also a lawyer in Charlottesville. So he definitely has his foot in both doors. He has the political aspect and the legal aspect. Jordan Dix is his legislative aide. She's actually the person I spent the most time working with hands-on. She was very experienced with what she did. She does all the background research, runs the office for Delegate Bell. And so she was a big influence in my whole internship. The first event I went to was the 4th of July parade. She is behind the camera. I'm choosing on the right, and that is the college intern, Jacob, who was also with us that day. And that was really cool, a pretty laid back start to my internship, because all we did is we walked through the parade and handed out candy to kids. So it was very interesting to see how we interacted with the people there. And one interesting note, before the parade started, Jordan actually told me, whenever Delegate Bell goes to these events, instead of saying nice to meet you, he always says nice to see you, because he doesn't know who he's actually met before. So a few weeks later, I was at a swim meet, champion swim meet, and I saw him walking around because he goes to sports events a lot. And I was trying to be polite. I went up and I said hello to him, and he actually turns to me very politely said, "Nice to see you." So I don't know if he actually recognized me. I think he did. I like to think he did, but it was really cool to be on the other end of that. So after that, I did go to a press conference with Delegate Bell in Richmond, and this was very cool to see. Not only to see how the press interacted with the participants in the conference, but also the topic of the conference itself. Delegate Bell, right there, and then Senator Mark Obenshain, along with several Commonwealth attorneys throughout Virginia, held this press conference to talk about the abolition of parole. Governor Terry McAuliffe had recently discussed bringing it back in Virginia and reinstituting parole, and these people were saying they did not think it was a good idea, arguing against it. So not only was it cool to see how this whole dynamic of the press conference worked, but the actual topic of parole was very relevant to my actual topic between politics and law and the whole criminal justice system. My actual internship started in the first week of August, and the first day was pretty stressful because the address that Jordan gave me to get there, it kept taking me to this building on High Street. And I had no idea how to get in there because it was a big office building. No one was at the front door, and there was no parking. And so eventually I drove around to the back and found this parking lot. And Delegate Bell's office is tucked away kind of down in the basement. I was really expecting a big building with a lot of staff in it, but it was only this small building with 2 rooms and 1 person working in. So it was a lot more laid back than I expected. And most of the work I did in the office was just basic office work, running mail merges, writing letters, sending emails. And there's the office dog, Cody, who would run around and like play underneath our feet. So again, very laid back, but it was very cool to see. The work I actually did was kind of tedious at times. There wasn't anything super exciting about what I was doing. A lot of it was simply writing letters and emails. But I think it was by far my favorite part of the whole project because of the type of situations we were dealing with those letters. One of the letters in particular that we got was from a lady who lived in his district who had no money. She didn't know how she was going to get food, and she had no shelter for the next month. And she was writing to him asking for help. So what I had the chance to do is I sent a letter to the social services department explaining her situation, asking for them to contact her and try to set something up. And then we also wrote a response back to the woman herself so that she knew what was going on and had some contact information. And that was really impressive to see because I know a lot of times we see politicians as kind of disgusting people who are either stubborn or always pushing their views, but they also do a lot of this behind the scenes work. All of the delegates in Virginia do that, I know. And Jordan actually told me they have this book. It's a contact book where they can contact governmental departments and get an answer much more quickly than regular constituents can. So the constituent services part of their job is very important and definitely by far my favorite part of the internship. So after I completed my internship with Delegate Bell, I did go and I had an expert interview with Jeff Hayslip, who is a Savannah Commonwealth attorney. And I did my interview with him because I really wanted to get more into the legal aspect of it. I didn't get to do much of that with Delegate Bell. I only spent one day in court, and that was basic traffic court stuff. So when I talked to him, I really focused on how politics and the legal system connect, the connection between the two. And because he is an elected lawyer, that is his job, and he's elected to do that, he definitely had the best viewpoint on it. And his overriding answer to all my questions was that even though Commonwealth's attorney is an elected position and is political, he does his very best to keep it nonpartisan. I think it's very important because it does give that sort of neutrality to the enforcement of the law, and that's very important in our justice system. But after doing more research and talking to him further, the basic answer I came to in my research and trying to analyze the connection between politics and law was that justice is not blind. I think we have this idea in American politics that we have some sort of omnipotent justice that is above the political fray, and that's really not the truth. We have our criminal justice system, especially, is directly affected by political trends, public perception, and cultural movements that definitely impact the laws and the policies we have. So I think it's important to recognize that, but I also don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because I don't think there is such thing as perfect human judgment. So to have someone who's always enforcing this one form of justice in our nation, I think doesn't actually serve us the best way we can. And by making justice more of a democratic process where we can elect our officials and they can influence the justice system, I think that is important because it allows a variety of viewpoints to get in there, and it does allow us to shape our justice system ourselves. Out of that, I did realize that because the two are so closely connected, it is very important for us as citizens to get involved in the whole process. So for my community service, I interned with Joyce Pace. That is not Joyce Pace, that is Joyce Pace. I couldn't get a better picture of her, but she is the Fluvanna County Registrar. So she does all of the registering to vote and organizing polling places during the elections. Most of the work I did with her was in her office in the town of Palmyra. Again, it was a lot of office work. This was not quite as exciting as the first, but it was cool to see how the whole setup worked and to see the work that she put into that. And the community service I did, I ended up stuffing envelopes, over 600 envelopes over the course of 2 days to send out to voters and let them know about their polling places for the year. One of the things I did notice while I was talking to Mrs. Pace was that even though there's all this work put into making sure voting can happen, and even though it is such an important thing, very few people actually do it here in America. This is the Virginia voter turnout in 2013, and 43% may not seem like that low of a number, but when you consider that that year we were voting for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and all state delegates, that's actually pretty unnerving. That means that all of these elected officials were elected with less than half of the Virginia population. So we're really not getting everyone's voices heard in this political process. And it's very important, I think, to try to encourage more voter turnout so people can really express their views because it has such a big impact on the justice system. So one of the biggest factors that decreases voter turnout from what I found is that people are either not able to register or they forget to register to vote. So for my legacy, I came back to Fluvanna County High School and ran a Virginia voter registration drive here at the high school for 2 days. I had 100 forms at the beginning. We handed out about 75, I believe, and I actually got 43 of those forms returned. So I know for a fact that 43 people were registered as a result of this, and that was really cool to see. In conclusion, I definitely found throughout my internship that politics is not necessarily my dream career choice, but I do have a lot more respect for that profession now. Again, I think we tend to criticize one aspect of it without looking at the whole job and seeing the constituent work that they do and really the effect they can have, especially in the Virginia General Assembly. There is a lot of bipartisan work that does go on. So seeing how seriously a lot of them take their jobs was encouraging to see, and I did enjoy that a lot. Advice I would give to upcoming seniors: take this internship seriously and take it as an opportunity. Pick something that you love, and then instead of viewing it as like an assignment you have to complete, I would definitely try to get every opportunity you can out of it. I know this applies pretty much any topic, but for my internship in particular, after I finished my official internship, I had the ability to work with Delegate Bell a little bit more into the fall. And this was actually taken at a fundraiser in Albemarle County. That's Scott Walker back when he was still running a presidential campaign. So I had the chance to go ahead and meet him in person, and just meeting people, going to all these events, great opportunities, I think, that you can get with any topic you choose. So pick your topic, make sure it's one you love, and then go with it as far as you can. With that said, next year I will be attending one of these three universities, either Harvard, University of Virginia, or the Naval Academy. Not sure which one yet, but I'm hoping to study either history or government. Are there any questions?
Not just the ones that are registered, but the ones that are registered that maybe didn't participate or aren't maybe looking to engage? What advice would you give them to help engage in our local government process?
I think there's almost a perception that maybe our vote doesn't count, that we look at elections, there's only a few people running, or there's a vast majority of people who vote for one candidate, so why vote in the first place? I think if we could really show how the issues are so connected, like I was really surprised to find that this justice system that we see as so nonpartisan is very much affected by who we elect and how we change things. So I would say just continue to emphasize how important it truly is and the effect it can have on our everyday lives is very important.
Good question. I think another reason people don't vote is because they're uninformed about candidates. Like sometimes I show up at the polls and I don't even recognize the names up there. I'm not aware of them. How can we better address that issue?
There is a website. I actually tried to get an internship with VPAP. It's the Virginia Public Access Project. They run a nonpartisan website that has information on all the candidates and fundraising, try to keep transparency in politics. So I think something like that should be promoted more, maybe have it more accessible in schools. Yeah. I think it's definitely a great resource. I unfortunately did not get to work with the man who ran it, but things like that where you do spread information in a nonpartisan way, I think are very important tools for getting that done.